Welcome dear third year learners. We are always in Unit 4, Feelings and Emotions, but today's lesson is about developing your reading and writing skills. So before moving on to the topic of today, I would like to test your prerequisites of what you have learned last time. So last time we have learned or encountered different emotions and feelings, for example, like happiness, satisfaction, anxiety, and we made the difference between what is an emotion and what is a feeling, and we have provided you with some pieces of advice in order to cope with exams and how to get rid of negative feelings by using, of course, the right language in terms of vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation. So we move on to today's lesson. So the learning objectives you are required to achieve today or by the end of this lesson are predicting the content from some introductory questions related to some pictures, making inferences and interpretations, demonstrating critical thinking and judgment, discussing the original pattern of a text, reviewing and consolidating the following grammatical items: reported speech, expressing results with so plus adjective plus that, and consequently expressing advice with had better plus stem, the passive simple present, subject plus is, are plus past participle, link words not only but as well, and finally you are required to write an expository composition. So we repeat, our lesson today is reading and writing, or the sequence of reading and writing. So as usual, before we start our lesson, we should have a pre-stage, and in this case it is pre-reading. So you have before you two pictures. You are required to look at them and answer the following questions. So the first question: how do the people in the pictures look like? What are they doing? Are they happy? Are they sad? Are they angry? Why? You would answer that the people in the pictures, they look happy, they look very excited, or the emotion or the feelings they are showing is happiness and excitement. Why? Because they are laughing to tears. As you can see, the peoples in both of the pictures are laughing to tears. Maybe they saw something funny. Maybe someone told them a joke. Maybe they were experiencing a funny situation. Let's take a look at the second question. What do people generally laugh at? We like to laugh, don't we? But what do we usually laugh at? What makes us laugh? And can we plan laughing? Well, generally, people laugh at some funny situations or jokes, but they can also laugh at a custom, for example, the way of people dress from one country to another. Or a dialect, how someone speaks. For example, how someone speaks from, for example, the province of Constantine in comparison to someone who speaks another dialect in the province of Annaba, or etc. Or words arrangements, how people word their speech. Maybe we would find it funny. And how is it possible that people can plan when they laugh? Is it possible? Well, no. Laughter is unplanned. It's unpredictable, spontaneous, it's random. We cannot plan it. And it is idiosyncratic, meaning that it is special from one person to another. What you find funny, some person would not find it funny. And it is incongruous. It does not match the whole requirements of what is funny or not. Okay, let's move on to the other question. When would laughter harm or hurt people's feelings? As we said, laughter is idiosyncratic. When you find something funny, some person would not find it funny. It can harm him. It can hurt his or her feelings. So when would we harm people or hurt their feelings? When we laugh. Well, laughing would be harmful to people's emotions when we laugh at a person's way, for example, of dressing, and this is an example of bad discipline. If you laugh at someone's way of dressing, how they speak, how they walk, and etc., it can be an example of your discipline, and this discipline is not good. It's bad. You are ill-mannered. You are not disciplined well. So let's move on to the second stage, which is while reading. You will be provided by a text, and normally you would read the text and answer the following questions. But since we are in a special case or in a special situation, if we were in a classroom, you would read the text silently and answer the questions on your own. But again, since we are in a special situation, I would like to read the text so that you can understand it in order to be able to follow the thread of the common tasks. So please follow with me. All of us like to laugh, but only some of us can explain the reasons for laughing. It seems that smiles, shared laughter, and good human relationships go together. Laughter is unplanned, often unpredictable, and sometimes personal. It resists close analysis. Despite the difficulty of explaining all the causes of laughter, however, we may note a few common elements. There must be something to laugh at, whether a person, a thing, a situation, a custom, a habit of speech, or a dialect. As you can see, this first paragraph, the text is composed of 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph we have read, it speaks about the causes of laughter, or the difficulty of explaining the causes of laughter, but even so we have causes like laughing at a person, a thing, a situation, a custom, a habit of speech, or a dialect. Let's continue. Human beings normally know what to expect under given conditions, and anything contrary to these expectations is incongruous and may therefore generate a great deal of laughter. When the temperature is 100 Celsius, for example, you expect people to dress lightly, but if you see a person who is dressed in a heavy overcoat, a warm hat, a muffler, and large gloves, who is waving his arms and stamping his feet to keep warm, this person violates your expectations because his clothes and behavior are inappropriate or incongruous. You would likely laugh at him. So the second paragraph, it speaks about some situations of laughter, of the situations that causes laughter. Some are inappropriate, some are inappropriate. So they are inappropriate and incongruous. So finally, laughter depends on seeing something new or unique, or experiencing a known thing freshly. There will be very little or no laughter at all if the circumstances promoting laughter are not spontaneous. Perhaps you have had someone explain a joke or funny situation only to find that the explanation killed your chance to indulge in a little laughter. So this paragraph, it restates and affirms our answer that laughter cannot be planned. It's unexpected, it's unplanned. It has to be spontaneous. If it's not spontaneous, it will kill your chance to indulge in a little laughter. So since we have read the text and we understood what is it about, it's about the causes of laughter and some examples of situations that cause laughter, and finally that laughter should be, or the situations that cause laughter should be spontaneous and unplanned. So let's move on to the question. Task 1. Choose the letter that corresponds to the right answer. So this is a standard question that you would find in your baccalaureate exam to identify the type or the pattern of this course. So the text we have read is it a descriptive text or expository or argumentative? Feel free to go back to the text, read it carefully and try to see what it is, its type. So, key. The text is expository. Why is it expository? It's expository because the writer is explaining the reasons of laughter and the different situations that make people laugh, and he provides examples. So, I repeat, the text is expository because there is an explanation of some fact by providing examples and showing a cause-effect relationship and some facts. So let's move on to the second task. Reorder the following ideas according to their appearance in the text. So you have 3 ideas. So remember, the text is composed of 3 paragraphs, and before you have 3 ideas, and these ideas are in this order. So you have to order them according to their appearance in the text. So let's read. A. Spontaneity generates true laughter. B. It is not easy to identify all the reasons of laughter. C. Laughter and inappropriate situations. So, I repeat, you are required to order these ideas according to their appearance in the text, and also we can test your level of understanding through this type of task. So, feel free to pause the video, go back to the text and try to answer the task. So let's take a look at the answer. So we have provided you with the answer in the form of a table so that it can be more organized and you understand it in a better way. So the first idea is, it is not easy to identify all the reasons of laughter. Paragraph 1, of course. Laughter and inappropriate situations is the second idea related to paragraph 2. And finally, spontaneity generates true laughter in paragraph 3, which is the third idea. So, since we have tested your level of understanding, let's test it in a more deeper way. So, task 3. Answer the following questions according to the text. So I repeat, you have these 3 questions, you answer them according to the text. First question, what are the causes of laughter? 2. Choose a situation that makes you laugh, to tease, and why. Of course, you choose a situation from the text and you tell us why did you choose this situation. Why does it make you laugh to tears? And finally, explain this statement. There will be little or no laughter at all if the circumstances promoting laughter are not spontaneous. So feel free to pause the video, you can go back to the text and try to answer the following questions. So let's take a look at the key, since you have finished. So the first one is, it is not easy to identify the causes of laughter, but we can laugh at a person, thing, a situation, a custom, a habit of speech or dialect, or an arrangement of words. So even though we cannot identify the causes of laughter, we can list some situations where we can laugh or situation that generates laughter. So the second one, the situation, so we took the freedom, or we took the liberty to choose a situation for you so that you can see how we would answer this type of question. So the situation that makes me laugh to tears is when seeing someone dressed in a heavy overcoat, a warm hat, a muffler, and a large gloves, and who is waving his arms and stamping his feet to keep warm in a hot summer weather. Weird, isn't it? Why would I find this a situation that generates laughter? Because this person is violating our expectations. Why he is violating our expectations? Because his behavior or his clothes and behavior are inappropriate or incongruous, and we would likely laugh at him. So lastly, 3, we will not laugh from our heart unless the funny situation is natural, unplanned, and unexpected. I repeat, the answer for the third question is we will not laugh from our heart unless the funny situation is natural, unplanned, and unexpected. So here you have these 2 sentences. They are linked together with the word unless, and we use unless to express a condition. So we use unless to express condition, but in a negative way, and we can replace it with if not. So we can say, if the funny situation is not natural and unplanned and unexpected, we will not laugh from our heart. And you can go back to your reminder on page 220 to review the job or the function of unless more. So let's move on to the other task. Task 4. Copy the title you think is the most appropriate to the text. So you have 3 choices, and you need to choose the right one, which would be the best or the most appropriate title for the text. So we have A, is the text speaking about, or is the benefits of laughter a suitable title for the text? Or B, why we laugh? Or C, laughter and people's culture. So remember, the text, it speaks about the causes of laughter and inappropriate situations that generates laughter, and spontaneity of laughter. So we would think that answer B or choice B is the most appropriate. We read the title, Why We Laugh. When we find this title, Why We Laugh, we would expect that the text would be about the causes of laughter, or the causes or the things or situations or the reasons of laughing. So let's move on to the other task. Task 5. This is a exercise or an activity about vocabulary. So it constitutes of 2 parts, part A and part B. So part A, find in the text words that are closest in meaning to. When we say find the word in the text words that are closest in meaning to, we mean synonyms. So you have to find a synonym or a word closest to meaning to expression A. Way of behaving that is particular to a person, and you'd find this word in paragraph 1. So you have to go back to paragraph 1 and find this word that corresponds to this little explanation or definition. And B, out of place, you would find the word that corresponds to this expression in paragraph 2. So feel free to pause the video to answer your task. So let's take a look at the solution. way of behaving that is particular to a person, it means that this person is idiosyncratic. We said that idiosyncratic, it means that something that is special to an individual. Out of place, it means incongruous. Incongruous meaning not matching. It's out of place. It does not correspond to the normal requirements. So the part B, find in the text words that are opposites in meaning to A, appropriate in paragraph 2 and serious in paragraph 3. So you have to go back to the paragraphs in order to find the words that are opposite in meaning to appropriate and opposite in meaning to serious. So feel free to pause the video to do the activity. So the antonym or the opposite of the word appropriate is inappropriate. So here we have given the opposite of appropriate by using the prefix in. So in order to make an adjective or to show an adjective is opposite to the other, we can add the prefix in. So serious is the opposite of serious is funny. Did you get it right? Good. Let's move on. So task 6. Complete the following table with the missing word category. So from the table you have a table, 3 columns, noun, verb and adjective. So this task is about word formation. How do we make a verb from a noun or a adjective from a verb? And also in this task we are dealing with derivatives. So what verb do we derivate, for example, from the noun expectation, and what adjective we derive from the verb of the noun expectation. So we read the words in the table. So you have the noun expectation, you look for its verb and adjective, and we have the adjective incongruous. The adjective incongruous, it does not have a verb, so you are required to find its noun. And you have the verb to violate. You are required to find its noun and its adjective. And in the last line, you only have noun danger and its adjective dangerous, so you are required to find its verb. So please feel free to pause the video and try to answer this task on your own. So let's take a look at the answers. So expectation, the verb of expectation, the noun expectation is to expect. So we took away the suffix ation and we had the verb to expect. So in order, and let's see, the adjective of the verb to expect is expectable, expected, expectant and expecting. So as you can see, between the verbs, the verb to expect and the adjectives, there is something common, which is the root expect, and we added suffixes in order to make adjectives. So and we have, as you can see, and we had many possibilities, for example, expectable and expected, expectant and expecting. So let's see the noun of the adjective incongruous. It's incongruity. Let's see the noun of the verb to violate. It's violation by adding the suffix ation. So let's see the adjective of the verb to violate. We have many options, or have many possibilities to make to have an adjective from the verb to violate. We have violated, the past participle of the verb to violate, and violable, violative, violational and violating. So let's take a look at the verb for the noun danger and dangerous. So the verb is to endanger, and in order to make the verb of the noun danger, we added the suffix en or n. So we add en to the noun danger in order to make the verb to endanger. So let's take a look. We took the liberty to give you or provide you with some lists of suffixes. So the first list is noun forming suffixes. The second list is verb forming suffixes. The third list is adverb forming suffixes. The last list is adjective forming suffixes. Feel free to pause the video in order to take notes or take what you need. So let's move on to the next part of our lesson, which is grammar review. So when we say grammar review, it means we are going to review some already or your prerequisites or the grammatical points you have already learned in the past units or in this unit. So you have task 1. Rewrite sentences B so that they mean the same as sentences A. So you have 4 sentences, 4 sentences for A sentences, and you have 4 B sentences that you need to rewrite them in a way so that they can mean the same as sentences A. Again, this is a pretty common question in your baccalaureate exam. So let's take a look at the sentences. Sentence 1, the pair. Sentence A, it is advisable to laugh to be mentally and physically healthy. So B, you start with you. So you rewrite sentence A using had better or apostrophe D better. So the second sentence is, so 2A, laughter can lower stress and dissolve anger, some specialists in medicine said. So you have sentence A. Sentence B, it starts with some specialists in medicine said. So you need to start writing sentence B with some specialists in medicine said, and you complete in order to mean the same as sentence A. Sentences 3. Sentence A, laughing improves the function of the blood. And sentence B, you start it like this. The function of the blood, and you continue. Sentences 4, sentence A, the film was so funny that it made people laugh to tears. You start your sentence with the film and you rewrite it using the word or the expression consequently. So please feel free to pause the video, take down or note down the sentences and try to answer them on your own. So this task is a review for your grammar lessons. So let's take a look at the answers. So I'll come back to the task 1. A little note, please. In your baccalaureate exam, they will not provide you with the options that I have provided you with here. They would let you answer the question on your own. We just provided you with these so that we can help you in our lesson today. So let's take a look at the grammar or the answers for task 1 in grammar review. So answer for sentence 1. So before we start, sentence A, it is advisable to laugh to be mentally and physically healthy. So we asked you to rewrite sentence B using had better. And had better, it expresses what? it expresses advice or given advice. We have already seen this last time, but I would like to refer back to it again and consolidate it in order to see the difference between it and should, ought to, should have, and needn't to. So we have here had better plus stem. Had better, and we did not use should or ought to or needn't or should have, because here should had better we use it in a urgent advice or a strong advice with bad consequences. For example, here if you don't follow the advice of laughing, the consequence, the bad consequence is not being mentally and physically healthy. Again, you can go back or refer back to your textbooks on page 290 for further information. So let's take a look at the second sentence. So our second sentence, A. Laughter can lower stress and dissolve anger, some specialists in medicine said. So our statement, laughter can lower and dissolve anger, is between quotation marks. So look at it. What do we call this kind of statement when it is between between question marks? So we call it a direct speech. We call it direct speech. So you are required to rewrite sentence B in the indirect speech. It is the same meaning but expressed in another form. So look at the solution. B. Some specialists in medicine said that laughter could lower stress and dissolve anger. So in the indirect speech, we have started our sentence using some specialists in medicine said. So we start with it because some specialists in medicine are the speakers, and said is the introductory verb. It's the verb with which we report our speech. But there is a catch. You have to be very careful of the changes that might occur from when turning the sentence from the direct speech to the indirect speech. And how do we do so is by looking at or paying careful attention to the tense of the introductory verb and the tense of the verb in the direct speech. So as you can see, our introductory verb said is in the past simple or the simple past, and here the tense of our sentence in the direct speech is the present. It's can plus stem or can plus verb. So what is, so I repeat, since the introductory verb is in the past simple, so it would mean that we would turn the sentence from the present simple to the past simple, and the past form of can is could. Okay, so let's do a little capitulation of the direct speech or the indirect speech. So direct speech, it says or repeats the same or exact words spoken. There is no change in the words and the verb tenses. In writing direct speech, we use the quotation mark. And in direct speech or reported speech, when we use it when we are telling someone what another person said or thought, again, there is a change in the verb tenses. We also use the word that to state the words spoken. As you can see here, that it comes directly after the introductory verb. So we said there must be some changes, and these changes occur because of the verb. The introductory verb is in the past tense. So let's look at these changes. So the quotation marks are not used in the reported speech. There is a change in the verb tenses, pronouns, time, place. They can change because of the time, place, and speaker may be different. And when we report a statement, it's like the example you have already seen here. Laughter can lower stress and dissolve anger is a statement. And we report it by saying, for example, some specialists in medicine said that laughter could lower stress and dissolve anger. So we do not only report statements, we report questions as well. When we report questions, we use this form, the WH word or the WH question, for example, why, what, when, where, and etc., plus the subject plus the verb. You have an example, student asked. So it is a question. We do not say student said. We say students ask, why is laughter important? So this a WH question. So how do we report it? We say the student asked why laughter was important. Or we can say students asked why or what can. For example, we'll ask a question. Students asked, what can laughter lower and dissolve? This is a simple example. We say the student asked, what laughter can lower or could lower and dissolve. So in reported, so we have two types of questions. We have WH questions and we have yes or no questions. When we report yes or no questions, we use this form. If plus the subject plus the verb. For example, student asked, is laughter important? How do we report it? We say, student asked if laughter was important. As you can see, in the question we have an inverse. It's usually verb plus subject plus the rest of the sentence, but when we report it, it's subject plus verb. And here it's a yes or no question. We say students asked if laughter was important. And again, we don't use that. We don't say students asked that if laughter was important. We don't use that when reporting questions. And we can report requests, orders, advice, warnings, and etc. And when we report them, we would use verbs such as ask, beg, tell, order, and etc. followed by infinitive. We use this form, verb plus pronoun plus to plus infinitive. For example, he ordered me close the door. How do we report it? We say he ordered me to close the door. As you can see, we have ordered verb plus pronoun plus to plus the infinitive of the verb. So we have we took the liberty to provide you with some lists of changes. For example, the first one is the verb tense changes. So we have direct speech and reported speech. So when the direct speech is present simple, it changes to past simple. And when the direct speech is past simple, it changes to past perfect. When the direct speech is present continuous, it changes to past continuous. And when it is present perfect, it changes to past perfect. And when in the future when we use will plus stem, it would become would plus stem. And we used other, and we gave you other changes, for example in the time, and changes in places, and changes in personal pronouns, and changes in the possessive pronouns. So we go back to the first example. Here we said that the introductory verb is in the past simple, we would have to change the tense of the indirect speech. But supposing if the introductory verb was in the present simple, what would we do? For example, laughter can lower stress and dissolve anger. Some specialists in medicine say instead of said. So I repeat, laughter can lower stress and dissolve anger. Some specialists in medicine say. So how can we rewrite it in the indirect speech? We would say, some specialists in medicine say that laughter can lower stress and dissolve anger. When the introductory verb is in the present simple, we don't change the tenses of the verbs. There's no need to change the tenses of the verbs if the introductory verb is in the present simple. So let's again, we have provided you with these tables of some changes. Feel free to pause the video and to take some notes. So let's move on to the third sentence. Passive voice review. So the third sentence, laughing improves the function of the blood. This sentence is in the active voice, and we would have to rewrite it in the passive voice. So a quick reminder on the difference between active voice and the passive voice. How is sentence A different from sentence B? First, the structure. As you can see in the answer, the function of the blood is improved by laughing is the answer. But the difference between A and B is that the focus of the active voice is usually or always on the doer of the action, who does the action. But in the passive voice, the focus is on the action itself. We put emphasis and we give importance to the action, not like the doer of the action in the active voice. So how do we put or transform the sentence from the active to the passive? Is by following this procedure. So laughing improves the function of the blood. Laughing is the subject, improves is the verb, and the function of the blood is the object. So this is in the active voice. In the passive voice, the object becomes the subject of the passive voice, and the subject of the active voice becomes the object of the passive voice, and it's preceded by. This preposition, it tells us who is doing the action. Next, we move on to the verb. In the passive voice, the verb is to be plus the past participle. So in order we conjugate to be according to the tense of the verb in the active voice. So you have to pay careful attention to the tense of the verb when it is in the active voice, because according to so you can conjugate to be, and you put the original verb, you give the original verb its past participle. Like here, improves, it's conjugated in the present simple. So, and it is again a singular, it is in the present simple, so it means you conjugate to be in the present simple and give the past participle of the verb to improve. So the next slides or the next diapositives are just a reminder of the passive voice. Yes. Again, a note, we show who did the action by using by. And also in the passive voice, we have some changes in pronouns. For example, I becomes me, and you becomes you, and we becomes us. For example, this house was built by my grandfather. We can say this house was built by me, by you, or by us. She becomes her, he becomes him, and they becomes them. So, passive voice statement, and we can have the negative form, and we can have the question form of the passive voice. So let's take a look at the last sentence of task 1 in grammar review. So sentence A, the film was funny that it made people laugh to tears. Before we answer the question, what does this sentence express? It expresses, pay careful attention, the film was so funny that it made people laugh to tears. What made people laugh to tears? What made people laugh to tears? It was the film being so funny. So here we are going to express result. Expressing result. In this sentence, we express result using this form. So plus adjective plus that. We have subject plus verb plus so plus adjective plus that plus clause subject verb object. In the first part is the cause, and the second part is the result. So what comes after that is the result. So the film being so funny is the cause, and making people laugh to tears is the result. We can express this sentence differently or in a different way by saying it was such a funny film that it made people laugh to tears. We expressed it using this form of such plus noun phrase plus that. So we have subject plus verb plus such plus a noun phrase. Noun phrase we mean adjective plus noun plus that plus clause subject verb object. Like so that the first part is the cause and the second part that comes after that is the result. So let's move on to another way of expressing result. We use the word or the connector consequently. As you can see, consequently, it connects two sentences. The first example, the film was funny, consequently it made people laugh to tears. The film was funny, consequently it made people laugh to tears. So the cause is the film was funny, and the result, it made people laugh to tears. The result always comes after the connector consequently, not the opposite. You cannot put the cause after a connector that expresses result. Here the word or the connector consequently has two ways of punctuation. You can write the clause or the sentence of the cause, then full stop, then start with consequently, comma, and the rest of the sentence. Or the second option, the first sentence of the cause, semicolon, consequently, comma, and the rest of the sentence. We can express cause as well by using other connectors. Again, have consequently, therefore, so, as a result, as a consequence, thus, and accordingly. Please pay careful attention to the punctuation of these connectors. So, let's move on to the last task in grammar review. So, we have task 2. Fill in each gap with the right word from the box below. So I repeat, this last task we are going to deal with discourse, and there is a little small grammar review within it. So I reread the instruction again. Fill in each gap with the right word from the box below. You have a box. How many words do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Emotional, laugh, funny, broadens, moreover, and wider. So you have a little passage, and you need to fill in the blanks in order to have a meaningful and coherent passage. So feel free to pause the video and answer the task. So let's take a look at the answers by reading the passage. Humor, what does humor? Humor is a subject, and what comes after subject? A verb. So the appropriate verb is broadens. Broaden here is a verb, and how did we make the verb broaden? Is by adding the suffix en to the noun or adjective, broad, in order to make its verb. So I repeat, we made the verb broaden by adding suffix en to the adjective broad. So our humor broadens our minds because it allows us to see the funny side of life. Moreover, it can deepen and widen our emotional lives, since it develops in us the capacity to laugh at ourselves. We have the verb deepen and widen, the same with broaden. It's suffix en plus adjective deep and suffix en plus the adjective wide.
شكرا على المشاهدة. لا تنسوا الاشتراك في القناة، الضغط على الجرس، الإعجاب بالفيديو.